running late. I'd heard Socrates shuffling around in the back seat of my distinctive 1970s pink VW bus, which advertised my business, Lucky Paws Pet Sitting, and featured a large hand-painted dog that was often mistaken for a misshapen pony. I'd thought he was cranky about losing the front seat to Moxie, and I'd ignored him. "I should have known you'd never really wear the hat," I complained to Socrates, who had started snuffling. The sound was very reminiscent of a snicker. "You were far too agreeable about putting it on. I should have guessed that something was up." Socrates finally looked up at me and blinked his droopy brown eyes as if to say, "Indeed, you should have known that I would never deign to don a costume." "Maybe I should go home and change," I said, starting to turn around. "You're not going anywhere," my sister called, hurrying across the lawn. She took the tub of snacks from me, like she couldn't wait one more minute to get her hands on it. "You're a half hour late. There's no time for you to return to Winding Hill, change clothes, and come back before the gala starts." Of course, she was right. It would take me at least 20 minutes to drive to Winding Hill Farm, where Piper, a successful veterinarian, let me live rent-free in her gorgeous, restored 1860s farmhouse. Well, actually, I was moving into a cottage on the property. The adorable tiny house had recently become available when the former tenant, Winding Hill's caretaker, was arrested for the murder of Piper's ex-boyfriend. I'd solved the crime. Not that anyone would give me credit. "This is Forever Friends' biggest fundraiser of the year," Piper added. "People and pets will start arriving in less than an hour. You need to set up the snack table for the dogs." She finally looked me up and down. "No matter how silly you look." Then she turned to Moxie and knitted her brows. "And who are you supposed to be? Tippi Hedren?" Moxie's cheeks flushed, just slightly. "It's more of an homage than a costume," she said, lifting her chin high. "The woman was Hitchcock's muse, an icon." She was in costume. I'd known it. "What happened to you?" I asked, thinking Piper was being a little judgmental for someone whose blouse was soaking wet. My sister brushed ineffectually at a dark stain on her sleeve. "Pastor Kishbaugh and I were trying to move the apple-bobbing tub. Water sloshed everywhere." I located Pastor Pete Kishbaugh, who was across the lawn attaching fake ravens to the branches of a crabapple. If he was also soggy, his black shirt hid the problem. "All three of you, come with me now," Piper added, leading the way down the path. Temporary stain aside, she was dressed appropriately in dark slacks and a rust-colored top that hinted at fall, but didn't scream Halloween, like my getup. Her straight, shiny brown hair, the polar opposite of the chaos on my head, was smoothed back and held in place with a pretty peach and brown patterned headband. "There's still plenty to do before the guests show up," she informed Moxie and me over her shoulder. "Let's go." We all followed Piper, who lugged the plastic bin while I tried to keep a grip on the billowing fabric of my cape, which kept flapping perilously close to the gauntlet of jack-o'-lanterns. The last thing I needed was to make a bigger spectacle of myself by catching on fire. The tag on the cape had warned that the fabric wasn't flame retardant. "This is where you'll set up," Piper said, stopping in front of a table with a placard that advertised Howling Good Dog Treats in a spooky, drippy script. The tabletop was already decorated with 2 life-sized ceramic black cats, their backs arched high and their tails sticking straight up. Cute orange and black platters featured similar hissing felines in a vintage design. The table was also scattered with dog-appropriate bones, all real and available for the munching. Piper set the bin on the grass. "As you can see, I did most of the work in your absence." "Why are you so grouchy?" I asked, because Piper, always type A, was even more tense than usual. "This is supposed to be fun." All at once, my sister's shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry. I'm just worried because Lillian Flynt, who is supposed to be hosting this event, is nowhere to be found. I've somehow ended up in charge of the whole thing."